welcome on into our fifth episode of season 2 of Fae Fam Talks, where I, Glamour Fairy, talk to content creators about their journeys through content creation and a topic of their choice. Today's guest is Crystal, or as most of you know her as SimplyPressStart. Today's episode is kind of special to me because I want to be on Twitch without Crystal. Um, if you've heard me talk about my journey, like on Twitch, you would actually recognize Crystal's name because I've said it quite often. Crystal is the one that brought me into Twitch during kind of a difficult time. And it was all just because of Animal Crossing, which is actually our topic today. But before we go ahead and like go into all the things that we want to talk about, including Animal Crossing and everything, would you like to introduce yourself a little more?
Yeah. So like you said, my name's Crystal. I would classify myself as more of a variety broadcaster, family friendly, but maybe a focus on Animal Crossing content. I've been doing this full time for the last 2 years, I think, give or take, and kind of like streaming as a hobby before that. So yeah.
Yes. So like I don't know if you've heard my story before.
I don't know if I have.
So like I was in a very like depressive state a few years ago. And I would try to like do things where I would have to focus on them. And in order for me to focus, I like to have something on in the background.
Mhm.
So I would find YouTube videos, and at the time, I'm like, I'm really kind of liking Animal Crossing, and I'm like, maybe I can find a good playthrough. And I found one of your playthroughs, and I had no idea where you were at during the playthrough at the time.
Mhm.
And I was just watching. It was Rose Wolf,
Yeah. Yeah.
I believe, and I I I had it on, and I literally just like plowed through it like for a few weeks. Every day I would watch like 2 or 3 episodes of it.
Mhm.
And then I got really sad because your episodes were starting to end. You were like, okay, well, this is it. This is the last episode. And I was like, oh no, what am I going to do? And so, like, for like, I think 3 or 4 days, I was trying to find another series that I could watch of a playthrough of some sort, and I couldn't find anything. And then I noticed that you posted another video, and you were talking about, it was one of your vlogs, and you were talking about how you were going to be doing another playthrough of Animal Crossing New Leaf, and you were
Mhm.
going to do it on Twitch. And I had heard of Twitch, but I had nothing to do with it at the time. And I just was like, oh no, I have to watch it on Twitch, and I have to watch it live. Like, my brain was just like, this is how it has to be. So I went to Twitch, I found you, and I went into your stream. And I watched you play this, and then I found out that you actually posted it on YouTube later, and since then I've been on Twitch, and now here I am.
That's really cool. It's so it's strange to hear that people watch. I know people must watch my content, but it's strange to hear it. Like, cause I do the
Yeah.
same thing. I go and look for content to watch like that as well, just for like background noise. So
Hmm. And
that's
that's
really
kind of
cool.
really kind of cool that we think about you. I kind of do the same thing. I'm like, huh, someone actually is watching me. Like, even with this Twitch streaming, or even with my YouTube videos, or even this podcast, I go into someone's channel, and they're like, oh, hey, I've been listening to your podcast. And I'm like, you've been, you've been what now? You,
I love that.
you've been listening to my podcast? I feel like I don't know. It's really weird to me because I just don't think that people would actually be listening to my
Hmm.
podcast, or listening or watching me play games horribly or anything.
That's definitely a mood.
So, can you give me a little bit more of a background of your content creation journey? Like, I know that you didn't start on Twitch like some of the people that I've been talking to. They started on Twitch. You did not start on Twitch. You started on like YouTube, right?
Yeah. So I God, it was 2013, I think, give or take, which makes me feel a little bit weird to think back on. But I was in the summer before I was heading to college. I took a gap year between high school and college because I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I needed something to distract me from this looming date of going to college and going to this place. I had no idea who anyone was or what I was really doing. And I used to watch a lot of Let's Players, I guess you would call them, on YouTube. I used to watch like PewDiePie and Markiplier, people like them. And I was just like, I enjoy what they do. I want to do something similar. So I started creating YouTube content, and it was just kind of like a little outlet for me, just to like put my time and energy into before I was going into school. Um, and I didn't really think anyone would ever watch it. It was just like just fun little things. I like to, when I get invested in a game, I really like get invested. So I want to know all about it. I want to know all the tips and tricks. I want to know all the secrets. Um, I want to know all the lore. So like if I can like regurgitate that back to people, that's something I love doing, and that just kind of transferred into my content, I guess. Um, and then I kind of like dropped YouTube for a while I was in college until I met someone there who was also doing YouTube. He also is on Twitch, and he kind of inspired me to get back into it and actually start really pushing for it. And that's about the time I got into Twitch as well. And yeah, it just kind of snowballed from there.
That's really cool that you like started with you started with YouTube. You started at a small little thing. You're like, I gotta go do other things, and then you're like, nope, I'm coming back, and that
Yep.
somebody like inspired you to do that.
Yeah, yeah. Um, it was cool, and I met other content creators, mainly through Twitch, not really through YouTube, who like again I could like talk to about this and bounce ideas off of and kind of just like grow alongside, which I really like. So I'm much more of a shy person IRL. I don't really talk to people very much, so this is like my social outlet as well. So that was really nice.
That is for sure. That's kind of the same with me. I don't have like a whole lot of people that I talk to outside of my work really, because like I work and then I've got like my customers, and my customers see me outside of the workplace, and sometimes they don't recognize me because I'm not in my uniform or anything, and and even then I don't really want to, I'm not gonna go out of my way to go talk to them and whatnot, because I'm like, I'd rather not. I'd rather just stay at home. I'll go play my video games, and yeah, I'm not one to go out and whatnot. So I feel like Twitch has definitely brought a lot of people together and has given it like a social outlet, like you said, a social outlet for us people that don't want to socialize.
Definitely. Definitely.
Going with the inspiration thing, where do you get some of your inspiration from? And has it
Um,
changed since you began? Since you
yeah.
started?
So when I first started, it was definitely watching other people, seeing, the sort of like top 10 videos of like the 2010s, if you know what I mean, like the old school Let's Plays and stuff like that. That was my go-to thing. But then as I started gaining more, I guess, subscribers on YouTube and, the extension of that, followers on Twitch, and hearing people talk about it, just like you were saying earlier, like, having someone to watch in the background, I started realizing I wanted to make my content something that you could listen to and have on in the background or nap to or just like, play video games alongside, because that's what I enjoy. And the idea that I could give that back to people, that's kind of something that I really strive towards, and like what I tend to focus on when I'm creating my content, at least.
You get the inspiration from being able to create the content that you would want to watch, which is something I think I've talked about it before, is that that's something that's very it's said, but not a lot of people like really dive into, where they tell you like, if you're going to make content, make sure you do something that you yourself would enjoy,
Yeah.
because you can easily get burnt out or tired of doing the same things, because you're just you don't want to do that anymore, because it's not what you enjoy, it's not what you want to watch, it's not what you would want to watch, it's not, it's like even with editing your own videos and whatnot, like you're watching your own content over again. Like you did
Yeah.
it and then you're watching yourself over again. And then you have to do it like, 10 more times because you're editing the video.
Yes.
So you're
Get
getting
used to
tired of
hearing
yourself.
yourself.
Yeah, you get
Mm-hmm.
tired of hearing yourself too because like I already don't like my voice and like it's weird to think about editing over and over again.
It kind of links in as well. I know later on we're going to be talking about Animal Crossing, but the whole
Mhm.
idea of, putting out content that you'd want to watch as well,
Mhm.
and not letting yourself get burned out if even if you
Mhm.
notice, like, you're making content that's bringing in a lot of people, but maybe it's not necessarily something you want to do. So
Mhm.
definitely.
For sure. That's definitely big, especially with Twitch. Um, getting a lot of people's end goal. This is something that I talk about regularly. A lot of people's end goals are to get Twitch partner,
Yeah.
and although that is a great title to have, it's not always the big thing that you want to get to.
Yeah, no.
And that's coming from somebody that's actually a Twitch partner. Is that like
Yep.
you don't want it to be the end? Like it's not an end goal because like once you get to Twitch partner, there's a whole other level of things that you got to do that you got to figure out, and like you want to keep your numbers up there and trying to figure out what defines between getting those numbers and trying to figure out what you enjoy as well.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
And I feel like a lot of people don't realize that. They just want to get that big check mark. And I'm like,
Yeah,
it's great,
it's
but
like
like it's not.
exactly. There's more after.
Yeah, there's so much more. Um Sorry, brain stopped functioning again.
It's all good. It's all good.
I feel like I need a counter for that. Is like my brain stopped functioning like this many times during this podcast.
Just
Um
lamb.exe has stopped working.
so between YouTube and Twitch, because you do both, which one
Mhm.
do you prefer more so?
Oh, Twitch by far. Um, when I first started doing YouTube, I was incredibly shy compared to how I am now. You wouldn't have been able to convince me to come on here, put it that way.
Mm, mm-hmm,
It was just like absolutely not. And the idea of doing something live was incredibly daunting. The idea that I couldn't edit or I couldn't adjust. I don't like hearing my voice either. I absolutely hate it. I've gotten used to it, but I still don't like it. And the idea that I couldn't edit it and fix issues live was scary. But now, after getting over that initial hurdle, Twitch has so much more live interaction with people, at least, moderately live.
mm-hmm,
Um, with like a couple seconds delay versus like YouTube where I'm sat there, for 30 minutes maybe talking to myself and then
mm-hmm,
editing it and then uploading it and then maybe getting comments and answering questions and stuff like that later. Like it's not the same level of interaction.
mm-hmm.
Um, Twitch is just, it's much more engaging almost, I guess would be the right word.
Yeah, that would make sense. I feel like I thought about doing YouTube first, uh,
Hmm.
and I think the idea of doing YouTube and like having to create those videos and then editing them just kind of made me like not want to do it because editing is just a pain, just
Yeah.
so much of a pain. And that, like, now I do videos quite regularly on my YouTube, and I'm
Hmm.
like, it's tiring.
Yeah.
While Twitch, like, I can go ahead and just stream, 3 to 4 days a week, which is what I'm currently doing. And I'm like, all I got to do is just go in because I already have all my stuff set up already. But, the initial start up of getting things set up, like the graphics and the overlays and like alerts and stuff like that, that stuff is a whole lot more work to do. But at the
Hmm.
same time, like just being able to go in, click a few buttons, and then push start streaming, I feel a whole lot better with that than I do with editing a video.
Yeah. Yeah. And then on top of that, there's also the whole, um, I usually stream for about 4 to 5 hours.
Hmm.
And when I first transitioned over to doing more Twitch content. I don't think I could have done that length of time. I could barely handle like an hour or two,
Mm-hmm.
because I was so used to just talking in very short bursts and just like, short little YouTube videos. So that's also a transitionary period. But again, it's something I've gotten used to. It's something I think I enjoy more. I find myself, um, I've recently gone back and started a proper Let's Play rather than just uploading my streams to my YouTube. And um, I find myself having trouble fitting all of the things I want to do into a single 30-minute segment. It's just like, how did I used to do this?
Right.
So,
I'm kind of doing the same thing with the Stardew playthrough, and
mhm.
I'm like I recorded it, and it was like, I think it was an hour and like 15 minutes, and I'm like, and I have to edit this down to 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh my god. And I'm like looking at this number going, this is so daunting. I think I ended up making it to like 45 minutes instead. Um,
Mhm.
but that also goes back to the making content that you enjoy, because re- bleh, recently, there we go. Recently, I've been watching a let's play playthrough of Stardew,
Mhm.
of somebody doing like an 100% completion farm, and I've been
Yeah.
really enjoying watching it. And they're already done with their first year, and I'm like, I'm not copying them because I'm doing a whole different farm than they are, and I'm doing my own version of it. But like, I enjoyed watching that content, and I'm like, I want to do something very similar to that, because
Yeah.
I love Stardew, but I don't want to bring it back to my Twitch channel currently because I
Mhm.
just don't have the attention span currently.
No, for sure. And I feel like, not necessarily like, there's like a line between like copying people and like taking inspiration maybe.
Yeah.
But I think about it, and I like my channel essentially is made up of this huge collective pool of inspiration
Hmm.
from just other content creators. I see something and I'm like, I really like how they do that. I want to do something not the same, obviously, but similar enough. And that creates your own, your own brand, your own identity. And I think
Hmm.
it's really cool. We're all just like a melding pot of like each other.
Yeah, it really is with all content creators, whether it's Twitch or YouTube. It's the same thing. It's like you get like little bits and pieces of things that other people have done, and like you um kind of like my captions, although they're really funky and I gotta fix them. But my captions for podcasts, I was watching somebody and I'm like, huh, I wonder how they did that. And then later I saw them on my TikTok and they were like, hey, by the way, if you're not doing this, you should. And then like talked about how you can have captions for both people um,
Yeah.
on the screen. And I was like, that's so cool.
Yeah, I
I,
had never heard of it until you showed it to me earlier. I'm like, that's really neat.
right. And like when you do like multi stream, yeah, I guess it would be multi-stream when you're doing like co-streams and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You could always like have that, because you can, I think you can have 3 or 4 people on there. um
Hmm.
but something that I am going to be looking into is using a different one, or having to learn a little bit more about how to how to use it, because the captions go further up than I was anticipating. And
Oh, yeah.
I thought I could have it where it was like yours could be on one side and then mine could be on the other.
Yeah.
Um, but I can't figure out how to do that.
Oh, I want to look into that later because like I was looking at it. I'm like, that would actually be really neat. So,
Yeah, that was my intention when I first um, commissioned Andrew to make this overlay, was to do
oh, is
something
this
like that.
Andrew? Oh,
Yeah.
good job,
Yeah,
Andrew.
Andrew does a lot of my the overlays for the podcast, as well as the graphics for it and the thumbnails. A
Hmm.
lot of my YouTube thumbnails are from Andrew. So if you guys are looking for somebody to do it, definitely commission Andrew to do it, because he got it done real fast and let me know exactly. He was able to help me out with what I needed.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So that was really random. I had a cough really bad in the middle of me
Oh,
saying so. Um, with Twitch, do you have any, or even with YouTube as well? Do you have any future like plans that you that you have?
Um, I'm trying to think of what I want to talk about. For I've had set goals for myself this year in terms of Twitch, which I lump, our stream team into Twitch. I lump
Mhm.
a lot of my social media into Twitch, and it's just being more engaging, more interactive, not just like, streaming 6 days a week,
Mhm.
doing a little bit more extracurricular stuff, being more engaging, doing more collaborations with people, just trying to be more social maybe, because I'm
Mhm.
not social in the slightest. That's the big thing for Twitch. For YouTube, I kind of just want to like get back into the vibe of it. I was kind of very much away from YouTube for a while. I was uploading my streams daily, but I wasn't actively like doing anything on there.
Mhm.
Um, and a lot of it is just I get a lot more enjoyment out of Twitch. I've had some maybe not so great experiences on YouTube, but I want to get more back into it and just trying to find my rhythm again and make content that my audience wants to see, which is maybe not always what I want to make. So there's that balance there too. And
Yeah.
yeah.
And you're still trying to like find that balance, right? Or have you
Absolutely.
found your own balance? Cuz everyone's balance is different. That's something that's very big. Everyone else has a different thing that they got to do. They have different balances.
Oh, absolutely. I feel like on Twitch, I'm definitely getting there. I know myself and a lot of other content creators made that shift from, Animal Crossing, Animal Crossing, Animal Crossing to more variety of stuff just because the lack of content, the lack of updates, we could go on about that.
Yeah.
um, I don't know about on YouTube. I don't know about on YouTube. It's you feel like you're making something that people might want to watch but might not do as well as you think it will.
Mhm.
Um, Whereas on Twitch, at least, I like that it's almost instant feedback. I can see my numbers. I can see how many people are watching. Um, but that has been really rewarding as well, at least on Twitch. Being able to play games that aren't Animal Crossing, that aren't my usual
Mhm.
cup of tea, and still have people come in and be engaging or, introducing people to games they wouldn't otherwise play,
Mhm.
is really rewarding. And I'm hoping to be able to kind of mimic that in a different fashion on YouTube as well.
Yeah. Well, that's so exciting. I understand exactly what you're saying because like I see the I kind of see the same thing because that's something that I've been learning as well is balance of what I like to create, what I like to play versus my numbers because like I mean my numbers for like everybody else's when I play Animal Crossing, my numbers are a lot higher than when I'm playing Dead by Daylight.
Yeah.
And I believe you and I had a conversation about this before is that like it's all about like saturation with
Hmm.
Twitch and the amount of people who are watching certain things compared to other things. Um, go
I
ahead.
um I wish I still had the website. I'm gonna find it because I was gonna find it for you when we were talking about it last, but um I had found this website that actually keeps track of all the current categories on Twitch and what's being played.
Hmm.
And it'll actually like tell you like what's really saturated right now, what maybe you could play right now and get a lot of potential viewers, like how many viewers are in a category versus how many people are streaming it. It was a really, really, it was a really, really cool website, and I just need to find it again. I had it somewhere.
You know
Um,
what? I think I know what you're talking about because I think I saw somebody again. Here comes back with the TikTok.
mhm.
I think I saw somebody post that on their TikTok that they were talking about uh, what should be played and what could be played. I think I have it saved
Yeah, I
potentially.
I'm not on TikTok at all, but my boyfriend Mike is, and he's the one who sent it to me, and that was from TikTok, so you probably saw the same thing.
It's probably the same exact thing. I love that.
Yeah.
TikTok can really like be too much. So like it's probably a good thing that you're not on there.
Yeah.
Even I literally spend I too much time on TikTok and I don't post enough on there
Hmm.
for me to be like, you know, I got one quote unquote viral video and then after that it's just me like messing around and nothing's coming going back on that, but that was it. And so I'm like looking at it going, do I want to put my Twitch clips on there? I'm like, but that's not what got viral. But I could put my Twitch clips on there. It's a whole that's a whole nother ballpark, honestly,
Yeah, yeah.
for sure. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on over to the topic, which I
Yes.
actually messed up and I don't have it actually marked correctly. Oh, I don't like how that looks. There we go. Okay, so we're gonna talk about Animal Crossing here. Very I have had this as a topic on here before, but it was the
Hmm.
very first episode, and it was at the beginning of the year because it was when I did it in January.
Yep.
So things are a, I want to say a little bit different, but not a whole lot different because um, when I had the first episode, we had just gotten like probably the last biggest update, not including the Sanrio amiibo cards.
Yeah.
Not including that one. That was probably the last big update that we had with the Christmas stuff, the holiday stuff.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, and then after that, we haven't really gotten a whole
Too
lot of
much.
anything.
Yep. um, but yeah, I just wanted to kind of dive into that. It's a really hot topic, obviously, in my channel.
Hmm.
Regardless of what I'm playing, we're probably talking about Animal Crossing. And there's a lot of back and forth about, well, why aren't we getting updates? We were promised updates for 3 years. I don't even know.
Hmm.
Um, you know, accepting burnout as well as, what I guess I think, or you think even, would need to happen to bring people back into the game now that it's been very stagnant for like what, six
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 months
months.
or so. Yeah, it's been very stagnant for 6 months. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I think as I was kind of going into this on my stream earlier today, but I think the main thing with New Horizons versus New Leaf, or even the older Animal Crossing games, is it almost feels like New Horizons is um, I don't want to say easier because all the Animal Crossing games are relatively like it's simple, it's straightforward. You're talking to virtual animals,
Right.
um, but like there is a difficulty to it. I sound crazy saying that, but like I feel like the thing with New Horizons is that it almost caters to the fact that we don't have a lot of time to play. That maybe like people aren't going to sign on every day. So like the game's a lot nicer. Our villagers don't move out without asking really anymore, as far as I know. They are very kind about when you're not there. Um, and a lot of the stuff in game is very like straightforward to unlock. There doesn't seem to be as much to unlock as well as previous games. And
Hmm.
I think maybe the issue was this game came out just as the pandemic was starting. So
Hmm.
everyone was just like head first into it. We had nothing else to do. We were all locked inside.
Hmm.
Um, and we kind of like burned out and like burned through all the content super, super quickly. Whereas, like, New Leaf, for example, it took a really long time to unlock Katrina. It took a long time to get all the Nook Store upgrades, which of course there's less now in the new one.
Hmm.
Getting the public works projects, all that stuff. There was a lot of stuff to work towards, whereas now it doesn't seem like there's as much. Maybe. Um,
Right.
I guess I'm trying to think of like stuff that needs to happen to change that. I think the big,
Yeah.
big, big, big thing that's missing is more things to actively work towards because they focus so much on the decorating, which I love. I love decorating my town.
Hmm.
But like once there's so many players I know who have decorated their town to the nines. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful. Perfect town. They never want to change it. What then? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, so like focusing on more things to unlock, more things to do outside of decorating. Not necessarily bringing back old features. They could, but like
Right.
more things to do, right?
You're right. I feel like they were
Um,
doing a lot of like they were doing I can't remember what the word is. There's a word, it was with fan. It's a fan service. Is that
yeah,
what it is? Yeah.
I
Fan I think that's what it is. They're fan servicing by doing the decorating. They're like, "Oh, you guys like decorating. Let's give you guys like, you know, however many more design slots that they gave us,
Mm-hmm.
to tie you over until we figure out what the hell we're doing. And
Yeah.
I think that's what they were doing, honestly. They're like, "Oh, you guys want more content here. Let's give you these design slots because I know that's what you want." And we're like, "That is what we want, but where's all the other stuff that you said that you're having? Where's all the extra things that you said that you were coming out with, the extra updates? Because you said you were doing updates for, like you said, 2 to 3 to 5 years, because I heard 5 years."
Oh wow, yeah.
And so I'm like, where's all this content? I mean, I know it's only been 6 months, but they didn't give us like a timeline of anything. They didn't like go over any of it. We're just, sitting on the edge of our seat trying to wait for that little Twitter update to pop up saying that Animal Crossing's coming out with an update.
Yeah, yeah. And then every time we do get anything, recently at least, it's been like, here's some clothes, here's some seasonal items, here's the Mario stuff was pretty cool, but like,
Mhm.
here's just little things. Nothing really game changing, nothing that's gonna make you log on.
Mhm.
Um, and I think that's the biggest thing. It's like what is going to make people sign back on? Because I know
Yeah.
everyone's like, oh, let's have Brewster back, but like you're gonna sign on for like a week to say hello to him and get your coffee, and then like that's unless he has something really big with him, there isn't gonna be
Mhm.
much else than that. So like, what else needs to happen?
Mhm.
I think they need to look into more multiplayer options.
Yes.
Going back to like Animal Crossing GameCube recently, at the very beginning of the game, you're talking to KK Slider in that weird dark room. I don't even know what that's meant to be, but it's there. Um, and it's just like he mentions it'd be far out if you brought along some friends to play with you. So like Animal Crossing has always been about like play with your friends, connect over the DS or on your Wii or 3DS or whatever. And in this game, there isn't a heck of a lot to do with your friends, which it
Mhm.
is kind of going back to like old school Animal Crossing, but I feel like from going from New Leaf, where there was like set mini games to do and set fun things you could do, to hey, come over and look at my island.
Right.
um, that's pretty much all we got. So I feel like that needs to happen.
Mhm.
Um, which this is my own personal letdown. This is just me speculating because one of my favorite things to do before New Horizons came out was to go over the trailers on Twitch with my chat and just be like, okay, what is all this? What are we looking at here? And then they released the box art for New Horizons, and it had Harvey off to the side on his like little island thing. And
Yeah.
I was so convinced. I was just like, this is gonna be Camp Harvey. And we're gonna go on like it's not gonna be like an island you go to do mini games, it's gonna be like a camping place to do mini games. And I was so certain, and then it didn't turn out to be that.
Oh
And I
my
don't know why they
god.
didn't do that, but they didn't.
That would have been so genius. Like little Camp. Oh my god, little Camp Harvey. Oh my
Little Camp
god.
Harvey. Yep. And then like I remember being so excited to go over there. I was streaming it, of course.
Mhm.
And like you go over there and it's like this empty house and you can like put down villagers, but they're like dolls of themselves and it's really scary and I hate
It's so
it. It actually
creepy.
scares me. It's creepy.
I it's so creepy. I some of the things that like people were saying about it were, it being creepy, and then like it being kind of like, I'm trying to think of the word. I mean, I guess like kind of sexual in a way as well.
Yes, I,
My
I know what you're
my
talking about, yeah.
yeah, my mom like came up to me and she's just like, "What is this?" I'm like, I don't know, but do what you will with it." So
Someone did that on purpose, 100%. Someone at Nintendo knew what they were doing.
they're like, "Well, it's Harvey, so like, we gotta do it." But
um,
yeah, I think definitely something big needs to happen in order for more people to um come back to Animal Crossing, because I've slowly been coming back to Animal Crossing again. I've just been doing it like once a week,
mhm.
trying to get like villagers. I'm doing a villager hunt right now, but I'm literally only doing it once a week because if I do it more than that, I'm gonna burn myself out again.
Yes, yeah. I think like managing burnout is so important. And speaking from my own experience, before New Horizon came out, I was doing this massive push for New Leaf content because that's what got my numbers up. I was um, trying to really drum up that hype, and it worked, but I could not go back to New Leaf right now. Not normally, at least. It's like too much.
Mhm.
So whenever someone comes in and says, "Oh, I'm really burnt out on New Horizons. I feel bad." I'm like, "Don't feel bad. Just go and
Mhm.
enjoy other games. There's so many other cool games out there that
Mhm.
you could enjoy."
Mhm.
And I think you said earlier, you're like, New Horizons is going to be there when you come back.
Oh yeah.
So,
It's
and
still
maybe it'll
gonna
be
be
better
there.
by then.
Yeah. Maybe you'll come back and there's gonna be an actual update. And even if not, like maybe you have this whole like I came back to Animal Crossing because I had this idea for one of my spots on my island that I had not thought of before. I was like, wait, I wanna decorate that spot. I know exactly what I wanna do. So I like went onto the game and I grabbed a bunch of stuff and like went into that area, decorated it, and I literally streamed that day for 10 and a half hours, and seven
Wow.
of those hours was Animal Crossing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, where did this come from? Where did my, upbeat for Animal Crossing come back? And I was like, I
Yeah.
guess I could bring this back again, but I'm gonna make sure I just put it in little spots here and there and do the villager hunting and only
Yeah,
do like
like
20 to 25 tickets and call it good.
exactly. Like pace yourself on it. Don't
Hmm.
like go overboard.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, I definitely agree. It's burnout sucks.
It
Long story
really
short, it sucks,
does.
especially when it's a game that you really, really enjoy.
Hmm.
But yeah, I'm trying to think of other. I had the idea to write this down, and then I was just like, no, I don't need to. I'll remember. I don't remember anything. uh, Trying to think of other stuff that I'd like to see added. I think the big one for me, because um, I feel like New Horizons is almost like a love letter or a throwback to Animal Crossing GameCube in a lot of ways. It has a lot
Hmm.
of stuff from that game.
Hmm.
Um, like KK at the beginning, that really hit me in the feels. I wasn't ready for it. Um, or seeing Wisp at night, or the glowing dig spots that was making a comeback. Um,
Hmm.
I really want them to kind of like embrace the fact that we like the older Animal Crossing games. We miss them. Um, I think the coolest thing that they could potentially add would be more things to the Nook phone. I feel like the Nook phone is so underutilized. Um,
Hmm.
so like I've been saying for the longest time, a music player app. Um, like let me actually collect KK songs and have them on there so I can listen to them on the go. But also somehow let me collect, maybe purchase them, or even through KK, let me get the previous hourly soundtracks from other Animal Crossing games so I can listen to 1 p.m. GameCube during 1 p.m. in my New Horizons town. Like, let me um, kind of enjoy that, I think that'd be really cool. And it kind of goes back into the whole thing I was saying earlier with how the game needs more things to collect, more things longevity wise, so you actually have a reason for signing in after you're finished your town.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, because
yeah.
there's so many there's a lot of items and variations of items, and uh I just feel like there's not enough items. Like there is a lot, but there's not enough.
Yeah, and they could so easily. I don't know really many people who would be upset with them if they were just like, okay, here's, the Rococo series back. Here's
Mhm.
the Alpine. Here's the Froggy Chair. Like, bring
Mhm.
back the older series. People would like that.
Mhm.
Um, I do like how New Horizons had more realistic looking items almost. A lot of the furniture looks a bit more like what I'd actually have in my house versus like the first thing that come to mind is the fruit set, but I think that still exists. Like, um,
It does, but you
stuff
have to
like that.
craft it.
Yes, yeah, the crafting is different. I know not everyone likes that or the tool
Mhm.
durability, but
I think it's
okay.
okay with the tool durability. It's not too much of a problem. Although I am upset over the fact that the golden shovel is not like not uh, not indestructible. It's destructible.
Yes.
There we go.
Yeah, I still say, they went that route with it. What they should do maybe is have another level, like go above and beyond, sorry, and have um, platinum or something like
Yeah.
that, like, some other metal, and make it actually indestructible, but make it something that's, a bit more tough to earn. You actually have to put some time and effort into it, because that would get me to play. I would want that.
Mhm.
Um, that would be really cool, actually. But yeah, I don't really mind the crafting. I don't mind the durability too much, other than what you were saying with the gold stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Another thing I really wanted, but they didn't actually include at all, was I never liked gyroids. I think they're weird. But I was saying that really what they should have done is had another section to the museum so you had a reason for collecting the gyroids. And
Mm-hmm.
what it would do, it would be like a little like stage, and you put them on the stage, and eventually they would like all make a song together um, as you collected them all. I don't know what
That's
it would
so
sound like,
cool. Maybe a
but
new KK song.
like that'd be really cool. That'd be really cool. And it's weird that they didn't include the gyroids
Mm-hmm.
at all, other than Lloyd, I think, in this one. But that would have been something that I would have liked. And again, just going back to like more collections, more things I can actually sign on and do.
Mm-hmm. Have the reasoning to go on there and do something like collecting.
Hmm.
Because that's what pardon me. That's what a lot of people do. I remember watching my mom play because she played City Folk a lot. My mom never touched New Leaf, and I was scared to give her New Leaf because I saw what she did with City Folk, which was play for hours on end, and to the point where I couldn't play. Like I couldn't. I had to sit there watching her fishing for the last like 6 hours, and I'm like,
I love that.
I'm like, where's mine? So I was always on Wild World while she was on City Folk,
Hmm.
but like um seeing somebody go on to the game for a reason, like my mom was trying to get specific fish and whatnot, and she was also collecting all of the Mario items that they had, because that was on City Folk, you had to collect them by going into nooks and um, using points that you got from something. I'm not completely sure, I can barely remember it at this point.
Hmm.
She would do that, and she would create this entire house for another character, which happened to be my dad's character, which my dad never played the game. My mom just literally made the character for my dad to have all of the Mario stuff in his house.
Hmm.
Um, and would put that all in there. So that was like her main focus for a while there, was just to get all the stuff to put in there.
Hmm.
So it goes back to
Yeah.
that whole collecting thing.
Yeah. I think that's so integral to Animal Crossing, and it always has been. But again, I kind of feel like the pandemic helped and hindered New Horizons. It was perfect
Mm-hmm.
because everyone needed something to play right then.
Yeah.
Everyone needed a distraction from real life, and we got it. But everyone also flew through all the content it had available rather than, like, myself even playing New Leaf. I got that game just before I was heading into college. So, like, I didn't have time to play every day. I didn't, if I did, I played for like maybe an hour versus this game, you know, I stream it like every day pretty much when it first came out
Mm-hmm.
for hours and hours at a time. So like we all just flew through what it had to offer versus taking it slow maybe. And I'm wondering if maybe that's part of the reason. Although I do agree when people say that it feels very empty, it doesn't feel quite the same level as the other games did maybe,
Mm-hmm. For sure. And
or at least. Oh,
that
I
was
was just gonna say
something
at least
that,
New Leaf.
oh yeah, for sure. Literally,
Mhm.
because people go ahead and will say, this is an unfinished game, and people will get really sour about it. But the reason why it's an unfinished game is because they were going to have all these updates for the next couple of years. And so that's
Yeah.
why it was an unfinished game, is because they were giving you more and more content so that they could keep your attention on it. But they weren't
Hmm.
really anticipating the pandemic, and weren't really anticipating the fact that, like you said, for us to like plow through the entire game and
Yeah.
then not have anything else left to do.
Hmm.
Um, so maybe they are bringing back Brewster, or maybe they're bringing back Katrina, which is who I'm wanting. I want Katrina so bad.
Yeah, she's cool.
And so maybe they're going to be bringing back all of these characters, but they're just doing it very slowly. And at first,
Hmm.
we thought that they were, doing it really fast. We're getting updates every single month, and that was their probably their plan. Or maybe they went, oh, people need more stuff because pandemic is still here, and then like grabbed all the stuff that was supposed to be in the next couple of years and like shoved it in there real quick, which is quite
Mm-hmm.
possible.
Yeah. When I first heard the whole 2 to 3, 5 year thing, I always kind of imagined it'd be like, okay, first year, you get through the seasonal events.
Hmm.
That's cool. Actually make the foundation of the game. And then year two, like, um, I don't know really what I was expecting, but I didn't expect, constant updates each month for the majority of that time, really. I kind of was expecting more like what they've been doing, which is like, little clothing sets and all that jazz, and then occasionally a bigger update. But I also kind of expected maybe a bit of news on when the bigger updates could be expected, because right now it's been very, very quiet. And I know that really bothers some people for sure. Um, but yeah, I don't know. Everyone is definitely allowed their own opinion on the game, of course, but I kind of look at it, I'm like, um, the amount of time I've streamed, for example, on New Horizons has actually already surpassed the time I spent streaming New Leaf, which is crazy because I streamed that for so long. And it's like I put all this time into the game. I don't really feel like the game owes me all that much, to be honest with you. I got a whole lot of enjoyment out of it. I thought it was really fun. So, ooh,
Yeah.
questions. I'm excited.
So honestly, I felt the same way with me, but with Dead by Daylight. So like my hours for
Yeah.
Dead by Daylight surpassed, well, streaming wise, have surpassed um Animal Crossing, I believe. Or it's like right at the same level.
Mm-hmm.
um Playing wise, on the other hand, I have over way more hours in Animal Crossing than I do
Mm-hmm.
than on Dead by Daylight. But um which is even funnier because like I've been playing DBD for about a almost a little over a year,
Mm-hmm.
and Animal Crossing I've been playing for, since it came out. So it's a year and like almost a half,
Yeah.
almost. And it's still like the same plateau where it's at, where the hours are around the same. Because I got burnt out with Animal Crossing a little bit um, last year. Then I was like, I need to find a new game to play. And I've been hearing some things about this game, and I've been watching other people play this game, and I'm like, why would I be going from Animal Crossing, this very chill, cozy, relaxing game, to this, murderous game?
I've seen so many Animal Crossing content creators or people who really did a lot of Animal Crossing at least go over to Dead by Daylight, and I'm like, that's cool. I like how we all have the same mind.
And it's so
um,
funny to think about that because like a lot of us are just chill vibes, just hanging out, and then playing DVD, we're screaming at it.
yeah, yeah. But I think it's great that you can find another game that you get really passionate about, or you get really excited about, even if it's like something completely different. Because at the same
Hmm.
time, that's kind of what you need, I feel like, especially when you're burnt out on a game. It's just something vastly different, something very different, even if maybe your audience isn't going to always be there for that.
Hmm.
Um, so I've been kind of enjoying that as well, just playing different games, trying out different things. Still sort of keeping within like my realm of similar games, so like Slime Rancher or Stardew or
Hmm.
Littlewood, games like those that are like similar enough vibes, but
Hmm.
also kind of venturing out and playing really different things. So we've done one Dead by Daylight stream, which was fun, and I'm probably going to be doing another one. I think like next Saturday maybe.
Oh yes.
And then like we were playing more mature games. We did Life is Strange. Considering
Hmm.
I'm a family friendly channel usually, that was
Hmm.
interesting. Going through the Final Fantasy series, stuff like that has been just really nice to get away from Animal Crossing for a bit, even if I love it to pieces.
Hmm. Sometimes
So
I find that I play too many games that don't actually have an ending.
yes, yes.
and I'm like, I need to adjust that. So like this last week we finished Super Mario Galaxy, and
Yes, so good.
I've never finished it because I've only ever been able to go to like get to the kitchen galaxy, and then that was it.
Hmm.
And so, and that was, you know, when it first came out back in 2007. So like, you know, child me playing the game compared to, you know, adult me playing the game, I flew right through it, and I'm like, yes, this is awesome.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, okay, now I have this great feeling of actually finishing a game, and now I'm like, I want to finish more games.
Yes. Yep.
And so now I'm I'm telling my viewers in my Discord that they can vote for the next game, and all of my mods decided with they kind of were going through the games that I gave them a list of, and every single one of them at least had one Zelda game in there.
Hmm.
And I have played Zelda games. I've only ever finished one, and it was when I was first starting stream.
Yeah.
And so now I have like I had Wind Waker, Ocarina of Time, and Twilight Princess. And the entire time I'm writing this down into my announcements telling you to vote for which one you want. I'm like, please don't be Twilight Princess. Please don't be Twilight Princess. Because I'm not ready for it. And I'm like, because
Hmm.
I know that it's more intense than other ones. And right now, I believe it's winning. Yeah, it's winning right now. And I'm like, I'm not ready for this.
I it's I get it because I just finished Twilight Princess on stream a little while ago, and it definitely is more intense. But at the same time, I feel like having your chat there and like being able to get hints and tips from them and chat through thing or talk through things with them
Hmm.
is so incredibly helpful. I wouldn't get through like Mario games without them because I am the worst at platforming. I
Oh my
cannot
God.
platform to save my life. But finishing games on stream is such a different experience. So I wish you all
Hmm.
the best if that's the one that actually wins because
Yes.
it's a fun game. Honestly, it's good.
Hmm.
Just maybe a bit more intense.
Yeah, I'm like, but at the same time, I'm very much into the if no one's able to help me, I'm very much into the whole. I'm gonna go YouTube this real quick. Let me just
Yeah,
click a couple
yeah.
because I cannot for the life of me try to figure something out and just be like, oh, I'm just gonna figure it out myself. Like, no, I can't.
No, no. Like I know some people are like, oh, you're ruining your experience by using guides, but like as long as you're having fun, I don't really. It doesn't matter.
And if I don't look up that guide, I am not going to be having fun at all.
Exactly, right? So, um, I have it actually listed in my description on Twitch. It literally says I am not good at playing games. I'm not at all, but I really have fun with them, and I enjoy sharing them with people. So that's why I'm here, pretty much.
Hmm.
Um, so I feel like if people come in and understand that, that's awesome. People coming in looking for like someone who's like legit actually good, you're in the wrong place.
That's the
There's other
same
people.
with me. I feel that. I feel that so much. Is because like I think I had somebody come into my chat one time and being like, "You're doing that wrong." I was like, "That's nice. I'm doing it the way I think I'm gonna do it."
Yeah. Yep.
I like cheesed that whole level, and I was like, "See, that's what I told you."
Hmm.
Hair flip.
Hmm. Just absolutely sass them because, who comes into a chat and says that anyway?
Right. You know you're doing that wrong. What? Playing the game? That's what you're supposed to do.
The best was when I was playing Breath of the Wild it was kind of my first time, like first time actually finishing it.
Hmm.
And I was playing it on stream, and like in the dungeons in that game or the shrines, there's like 10 different ways you can complete the puzzles. Like they're meant to be done different ways,
Hmm.
and you and you have people come in and they're just like, "You're not doing it right," and I'm like, "Okay, but this is working, so what's your point?"
I'm gonna cheese this as I go. I'm gonna cheese
Mhm.
it.
Mhm.
Yeah, I Breath of the Wild is one of those games that definitely gets quite a few people in there that'll speak their opinion on how you're playing the game. I remember I was going against one of the one of the Ganon Blights that they have,
Mhm.
and I was having issues trying to defeat it, and I just keep seeing in my chat someone popping up saying something that I'm supposed to be doing, like you're supposed to shoot it, like what do you think I'm doing, like.
Yeah.
Is this how you're supposed to shoot it? Because I'm still shooting it. Like they
I'm
just
still
keep telling you
it's
to do. I'm doing the same thing that you're telling me to do. It's just that I'm terrible at the game.
yeah. I was playing Portal like a month or two ago, maybe. I don't actually remember. And I had someone come in, and I was kind of like stuck on a puzzle. And I'm there thinking, and I'm like looking around the room in game, and they go, "You're meant to use a portal," and I'm like, "Really, really?" It was good fun though. Sometimes you meet people through chat who are just like, absolutely, um, you need to do it this way. You need to be serious. But I tend to like to have more fun on stream and just be goofy and
Mm-hmm.
not take things too seriously.
For sure. My husband bought me Portal and Portal 2, I believe. So now I have to
Mhm.
play it at some point, and now I'm like, that's a lot of puzzling, and I get very frustrated with puzzles.
Honestly, I'd say maybe go through the Portal 2 co-op with him if he has it as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a good introduction and it's really fun, to be honest. So
Mm-hmm. Okay, I don't usually read chat, but I will say this one out loud. Rosie Hussein, or the guy that came into a Paper Mario stream, and they legit said, "I thought that the top person in the category would be good at the game."
yep, that was me. It was my very first playthrough. I'm at the end of the game. I don't have timing either. I have no rhythm, no sense of rhythm. And you're meant to like press buttons to block at a certain time, and I'm just like not. But again, it's like I find that amusing more so than aggravating, which is good. When I
Right,
first started streaming, I may have been like insulted by that, but I'm just like, no.
right. That's
Look at
something
me
was.
win anyway.
You're like, I'm still gonna do it anyway. Like,
Exactly.
uh, people are so silly sometimes.
They are. But it's fun. I've met so many interesting characters on Twitch. I've met so many lovely people. I've also met some
Hmm.
not so lovely people, and I've met some people in between who are just like very memorable for some reason. So
Right.
it's
Hmm.
great.
Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and move on over to the Q&A section. If you are in the Twitch, sorry, if you are in the Twitch chat, there is a channel points redemption at the very bottom. It's pretty much the only one that's available there. It's only 10 points. You can go ahead and ask a question of your choosing, but you only get to you only get to pick one question, and there is 10 questions available. So choose wisely and all that good stuff. If you are not in the Twitch chat and you are listening on YouTube or on a podcast platform of your choice, come in on our live session so that you can go ahead and see all this stuff happen in real time, as well as asking the questions that you would like to ask. We go live on Saturdays at 3 p.m. usually. Sometimes it changes up due to scheduling. But yeah, 3 p.m. on Pacific time. Okay, so that being said, I need to pull up the question. You would think that I would actually pull up the questions beforehand, but I did not. Why does the quick actions not actually have it on there anymore? I just had that there. Reward queue. There we go. Whoop. And I have stuff on there from like 5 days ago. Oops. Okay. Go back to the screen. Okay. Rosie Poo asks, what kind of advice would you tell to your younger self, YouTube/streaming wise?
A couple things. um, Maybe not to go so hard into Animal Crossing.
Mm-hmm.
Go hard into it, like enjoy it, do as much as you enjoy, but don't do more than you really want to do, because you will get burnt out on it. I think maybe also, keeping things more professional between myself and other streamers would be a good idea. I try my best these days to be very like, courteous, kind, professional to people who I'm not as emotionally close with online. But definitely keeping things a bit more professional and organized as well, because I now do this for a living, and theoretically I should be a bit more organized than I am, but I feel like if I had started that earlier, I may actually be in a better position, but that's where I'm at.
You learn, you live and learn, I guess.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. I could, like, I could kind of get stuck thinking on what I should have done, but I really should be focusing on what I can do because I can't change what I should have done or what I
Mhm.
did. Sorry.
Right.
uh,
I
I think.
think go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying. I think that's all I could think of.
Okay. I think for myself, I would probably tell myself, um, mm, I don't know. I guess like choose wisely, kind of. Choose your friends wisely. Choose your what you're doing wisely, like your gamings, like the games that you want to choose and play. Like
Mhm.
you said, don't go so hardcore on the games that you think about. I created my I actually started streaming more specifically because I knew that Animal Crossing was coming out with a new game because I got it before New Horizons was even announced, but I knew it was coming out at some point.
Yeah.
And then when it was announced, I was like, this is why I'm streaming, is to play this game. And the only reason why I'm going to be streaming. And then here I am not streaming Animal Crossing all
Yeah.
the time. Um, but yeah, just kind of watch what you're doing and don't share all the time.
Mhm.
That's something I think I've learned in the last year because I've been streaming for 2 years now, and I feel like it's something that I've definitely learned is that you can definitely overshare with people thinking that it's okay, but it's really not.
Yeah. Um, just adding on to that, thinking ahead, maybe being a little bit more, well, I guess a little bit less worried about being maybe seen as strict or rude. Like,
Mhm.
it's your chat, it's your channel. You should be comfortable there. You should be happy there. So if someone's kind of not meeting that vibe, you know, do something about that early. Don't let others feel uncomfortable.
Mhm.
Kind of keep things as you would want. Again, I was saying how I want my content to be something I would watch, and I
Mhm.
want other people to be the same and enjoy watching it. I also want people to feel comfortable in my community as well. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
for sure. Um so I Blue Wave asks, outside of streaming, do you play video games offline that are not something you'd be likely to stream?
Um, yeah. Because I mainly do family friendly. In the last year, I've gotten more into like here and there we'll have a game or a playthrough that's not family friendly at all. Um, but because I'm more family friendly, there's a lot of games that I haven't streamed that I really do enjoy. I have so much fun going through the Saints Row series, which is not. It's completely different than what anything I'd ever do on stream. It's absolutely ridiculous, but it's so much fun. And I found out I have this love for like big open I don't know if you call that a sandbox game. I don't know what it'd be called, but I really enjoy those. Um, for a long time, Final Fantasy and Kingdom Hearts, but I've now started. I mean, I've streamed through all the Kingdom Hearts games now, and I've been going through Final Fantasy and kind of like divulging my love for that series because I've absolutely been and I don't know if enamored is the right word, but absolutely head over heels for that series for years. But I didn't really feel comfortable sharing that because I'm like, it's not Animal Crossing. But I feel like I'm much happier now sharing that with people, even if not as many people watch me play Final Fantasy because it's a game from 1997. It hasn't aged well. I get so much more enjoyment out of sharing something that I get really excited for. Um, so I think those are some of the games. Dead by Daylight, but I've streamed it now once, so I might open that up for more.
Yes, I'm so sad that I missed that because, I've been so into Dead by Daylight that like watching you play Dead by Daylight would be like perfect. Um
Yeah,
but I think that's definitely something that I think we should do with Club Tour because we've got so many friendos in there
have
that have
played.
been that have been playing Dead by Daylight or have played it before or even want to
Mhm.
want to play
Yeah.
it at some point. So I think that's really cool, and I think it'd be a definitely a fun thing to do. You could do
Oh
like
yeah,
some sort
for
of
sure.
just some sort of like custom matches and whatnot with each other, mess around and try killing each other.
Just get all that aggression out that's not there, but
That's not there.
just make up that aggression, get it out.
Yeah, it would be lots of fun. Um, ooh, sorry, brain. Mendelin asks, do you all have a favorite playthrough of a game you've done on YouTube or Twitch?
um, so I absolutely loved going through Final Fantasy VII Remake because it's a newer game. People are more likely to watch newer games, I've learned. And getting to just go crazy on a game that I am crazy about, which is a lot of fun, and sharing that and just going ham with chat. But the other thing that comes to mind is actually I played Bug Snacks earlier this year, and it wasn't a game I was expecting to like that much, but
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely loved it. The chat interaction was great. We still have little inside jokes that came from that playthrough, so I think that's probably one of the main ones. Bug Snacks is really good.
I've heard and seen very small snippets of Bug Snacks, but I have not actually played it or actually
Oh.
watched a full playthrough of it because and I haven't watched a full playthrough of it because I'm like at some point I will play Bug Snacks. But if I
You
play
have
it,
to. It's so
I'm
good.
gonna play it like first playthrough on Twitch sort of thing where it's like I've
Hmm.
never seen anything of it to play it because that's always
Yeah.
the one of the best things I think because when I first started Twitch I played Stardew and
Hmm.
when I played it I had no idea about it. Like I had no gameplay I had seen. Like I hadn't seen anybody play the game before. I was just told that it was a really fun game and that I would enjoy it because it was not similar to Animal Crossing, but similar vibes with it.
Hmm.
And that was told to me by my best friend because it was literally the second day of me streaming was I played Stardew. Um,
Hmm.
and I honestly am gonna say that that is probably my favorite thing that I've ever played on stream when I first started out was Stardew because it's what brought most of my first followers in is Stardew, and
Hmm.
the amount of love I have for that game now is so immense, and it's so weird to think about that I went into that game where I literally I threw away my sword.
I did the same thing. I did it on stream. There's a clip of it somewhere.
I threw away my sword. I had no idea. I didn't realize I threw away my sword. And I remember my first moderator, Cafe of Dogs, came into my chat and was like, "Why are you hitting those slimes with your scythe?" I was like, "Cause that's the only thing I have."
Oh.
And then he's just like, "No, you're supposed to hit it with your sword." I was like, "Okay, well, tell me where my sword is." And I'm like looking through my inventory. I hadn't made a chest or anything like that. I
Hmm.
only what I had in my pockets is what I had. I didn't know how to like get them out of my pockets. And he was just like, "I don't see it anywhere. Is it in your chest?" And I was like, "What chest? You can make chests?"
Oh no. Oh man.
It's literally my first interaction with my first mod ever is that we just like messed around and he was just like making fun of me the whole time of the fact that I lost my sword somehow and I just sold it um or I tossed it in the trash.
Hmm.
I have no idea what happened because I didn't even get a clip of it. Um but yeah, for sure. I think Stardew is definitely up there
Yeah.
for favorite things.
Um, I was just wanting to add on to that though. Thinking back on it, I feel like a lot of really good Twitch playthroughs or a lot of my best interaction with people has actually been on series that I know nothing about.
Mhm.
Um, Going in and like people like to come in and like be like, "Oh, this is a really good game. I like this game," or like, "You're going to enjoy it," or even better yet, "This is how you do this," which some people don't like backseating, but um, I feel like that's something that's huge. When I first started streaming, I played games that I knew because I was just like, I'm scared of not knowing something, if that makes sense. I was just like, I don't want to look like an idiot. But you
Right.
don't. You don't if you're not sure what you're doing. So,
Right, you're like, I don't want to look like an idiot, and then you're like, let me just throw away my sword.
yep. Let me just throw away my sword. And then like I think my reaction to that was you didn't see that. And then I just kept going. Somewhere in my Twitch clips, it exists.
Oh, I love that so much. Um, so Raven's Chill Corner asks, what Funko Pops do you like to collect?
um, so it's really funny. I don't think I've bought a single Funko Pop. My boyfriend Mike buys those. So those are all Kingdom Hearts ones for reference. Kingdom Hearts is like my passion in life, other than Final Fantasy, which is my new passion in life. But I never really was one for collecting like action figures or plushies, really. I was always just like, why would I spend that money on that when I could spend it on like a game or something I could actually like interact with? And then he's like, well, if you're not going to buy them for you, I'll buy them for you. So those are all Kingdom Hearts ones. I think I have two that aren't Kingdom Hearts. I have Evan from Ni no Kuni too, which I love Ni no Kuni so much. And I have, oh, I'm blanking so hard. The guy from, I'm gonna embarrass myself. The guy from Jurassic Park with his shirt off and he's like sideways and he's
Jeff
like life will find
Goldblum.
a, yeah. So it's literally it's a sideways pop figure. So he's like on his side. It's beautiful. Mike and I just finished watching that movie. And he saw it at EB Games and he's like, okay, so we need to buy that then.
That's definitely one that I don't have, but I definitely need.
Yeah.
Raven's Chill Corner is actually my husband.
Oh.
And I kind of saw his question pop and I was like, he saw the Funko Pops in the background. We collect Funko Pops. We haven't collected as much since the pandemic, but beforehand we used to collect a lot. So I have like a very big I say big collection like it's like huge, but it's not that big compared to some people. I take mine out of the case because we like to position them and like put them in nice places.
Yeah.
And some people get very irritated because we took them out of the box because it's a collection thing. It's a collector's item. You know, you're not supposed to take them out of the box. Like, and I'm just like, no, I'm taking them out of the box because how am I supposed to fit them all on my shelf that way?
Exactly. Just enjoy them. They take up a lot less space that way too.
They really do, honestly, because this is gonna be an exclusive for people on YouTube and here on Twitch, but I have it on my screen or on my bookshelves right next to me. So I have I have 3 collections that are or 4 collections that are my favorite. So I have the Avatar: The Last Airbender,
Yes.
all of the Sailor Moon pops, the Diamond Edition that you can only get at Hot Topic usually, and then the last one would be my Hello Kitty collection because I am a very big Sanrio fan.
Mm-hmm. Do you have I think they made like I don't know if it was big or not, but there was an Appa pop figure from
The
Avatar.
Appa, yeah. I didn't get. I don't know if
makes me
they
happy.
came out. Did they come out with a big one?
I don't know if he was big or not. I remember there was one, and I'm like, I need that.
I was actually a little sad because the one that I do have, he's a normal size one, and I was expecting him to be big. So I'm hoping that in the future that they'll release one that's actually like a big one, like one of the 10-inch ones. Because one of our favorite ones that we have is a big Niffler from
Fantastic Beasts.
yeah, Fantastic Beasts.
Yeah.
He's huge. He's like as big as my head, and it's literally my favorite thing. Because like it's even funnier because like I'll look over this way. It's on a bookshelf on the other direction. Because it's in my husband's section of the room, and I like look over there and it's staring right at me.
Oh. The other day when I went to go pick up Skyward Sword, I hadn't been in an EB Games for like a year pretty much. And I went in there and along with all their pop figures, they had like, I'm not even joking, like the box is like this big. It was a giant Pikachu pop and it was it was massive and I'm like, I really want to see like how big it is outside the box. But was like I was eyeing it.
I've seen a couple of people that have that one in I think there was a Bulbasaur one that they came out with as well. And I saw that one and I was like, oh my god, that is adorable. Oh, there's a flocked version of Appa. So there's one that's like more like fuzzy and stuff. But yeah, there's like there's some really cool pop figures that I've definitely thought about getting into, but I'm like trying to not get into pop figures again because I'm like,
Yeah,
I have enough because that's just my
it's
collections.
it's tempting. It really is. And like I was
Mhm.
kind of the same with amiibos when those first came out. I was just like, no, I don't really need them. And then you guys can't see it, but there's a whole shelf dedicated to them up here, and like, you
Yeah,
know, it's
same.
it's addicting.
It is when you find something that you love and then you're like, I'm gonna collect all of them, and you're like,
Hmm.
well, now what? Goodbye money, goodbye wallet.
Goodbye space. They take up so. Actually, I do have one figure, the Evan one, that's out of its box, and I don't know if you find this, but he's very top heavy, so he's constantly knocking over with like the littlest bit of um motion. I don't know if you have like a stand or something that they're on, or if you just like if they just stay up magically. I don't know.
So
Sheer force of will.
actually, there's a thing. Um, Let me find one that. Here we go. This one will do. So I have Deadpool. He's Diamond Edition, and he's
Ooh.
on his side, just like how Jeff Goldblum is probably on the
Yes,
same one.
that's exactly it. Yeah.
So they come. Some of them. Oh, this one isn't one that comes. Oh, this one came with it already. So this
Mhm.
is not a good example. But in the box, we found out really late that they actually come with stands. If you go into the box that it came in
Mhm.
the depending on how old they are, because we know that the older versions don't have this.
Oh,
What?
okay.
They did? Oh, and we just didn't notice. Okay, so we've been throwing away these stands that we had no idea.
Oh
Um,
my god.
yeah. So in the case, in the plastic at the very bottom where they're placed, there's this little round circular thing that is like this. And it's supposed to just go right into the bottom of the feet. There's like a little hole on there, so you could just plop that right on there, and it should just stand just fine.
And now I feel silly because I threw away that box.
We did it to so
it was
many.
damaged, so
Yeah, we did it
that's
to
why he
so
wasn't
many
in
of
it.
them. Uh,
Oh,
we end
jeez.
we ended up buying some clear circles and then hot gluing them to the bottom of it so that way it would stay because I all of my Sailor Moon ones, they're all very top heavy.
Yeah, yeah.
And
That's interesting.
I'm gonna have glitter all over my face now.
Oh no.
Is there any other questions that you guys would like to ask? Now would be the time to ask them. Um, but yeah, Funko Pops are definitely one of the things that my husband and I have spent probably way too much money on.
Yeah. I just refuse to get into it. I'm just like I can't. I want to, but I can't.
Because then you get into a hole. It's kind of the same
It's
thing.
exactly that. Yeah.
Uh,
Um.
we we did buy a bunch of amiibo characters as well for a while there because we were getting into that before we got into the Funko Pops.
Mhm.
But where we live pretty relatively close to the Funko headquarters.
Oh.
And
Oh,
so we haven't done it yet, but we can go drive down there and um, you're able to create a Funko Pop that looks like you or of whatever character you want to. I don't know how much it is, but it's it's supposed to be this whole
that's
fun thing, and I'm like, I gotta do
that's really cool.
it.
Oh my goodness. Now, you see, that way I could get my Luigi. Although I wonder if they'd actually do, like, if they let you do a licensed character. But I do a Luigi if he hasn't already been made. I don't think he has. I think
I don't
Nintendo
think
wants
so
him for
either.
Amiibo. Yeah.
I think they're. I don't think. I don't know if Nintendo will actually make or allow Funko to start getting into stuff like that. Because you know how Nintendo is. They're kind of.
Nintendo, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I love Nintendo, but at the same time, they're very greedy.
Yeah, they're very protective over their stuff.
Very much so. All right. Is there anything you would like to add? Do you have any
Mm,
questions for me?
ooh. Let me think here. Let me think. I get this question a lot, so I'll ask you it because now I get the chance to. And I'm too shy to speak up in most people's chats. So, um, Do you have a favorite moment, just overall, from streaming?
A favorite moment from streaming?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Any game, any moment in particular?
Um, I don't know. I think one of so last year during my actually I have two big things that I remember that happened last year. Um, last year during my 1 year anniversary of Twitch,
Mm-hmm.
um, I it was the first time I ever really cried on stream. Because I was like overcome with the emotion of the idea that people have been watching me and have been enjoying my content for a year.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so all of my mods were in our mod chat, which I usually have on off to the side just in case we get a troll, and I can immediately talk to them and whatnot. I have that off to the side, and they started sending selfies of themselves crying because everybody was just crying.
Oh.
So my entire mod chat was just filled with like people crying, and I'm just like looking over going, why are you guys sending me photos of you crying? Are you trying to make me feel better? And then the second one was when I last was it was last year. Yeah, it was last year. Last year around this time I participated in a charity relay with the Switch Project, and we raised money for a Trans Lifeline. And when we did it, I my community raised $425.69. When
Mm-hmm.
we got to the 420.69, I was so ecstatic that we hit it that I zoomed in on it and I like pointed at it, and I was like, somebody clip this because I need to show my mom that we hit 420.69.
I love that.
It was one of my favorite things that happened. That was literally that was like a month before I shaved my head. So like it was just like it was like a whole like thing that I was just like, it's the last thing that I remember really um before I cut all my hair off was
Mm-hmm.
that whole scene. Um but I think those are my two favorite moments on stream.
Those are so
Crying in
nice.
420.69.
Heck yeah, That's beautiful.
I added Banana because I was hoping that she would ask her question, but she might be having dinner right
Curious
now.
what it was. Now I'm gonna be left wondering.
I believe it was. I'm gonna ask it for you or for her because I know I'm gonna want to hear it too. What
Okay.
game has God? What is it? What game has uh and I don't know if it's inspired. It wasn't inspired. It was influenced you for a life lesson, I guess it was.
Ooh.
That's like the gist of the question. She words it way better than I just did. But it had to do with a
um.
life lesson and a game that influenced it.
Okay. I think I have two answers for this. I have like a streaming related answer and like a me related answer. Um. Um. Obviously, I talk a lot about Animal Crossing because that's my bread and butter. But like,
Mhm.
ooh, I hit my microphone. I'm so sorry. Um. I think Animal Crossing. Uh, when I first started playing it, I played by myself because I had friends who maybe played games, but maybe not the same type of games, or no one really knew about Animal Crossing, or at least no one who I talked to. And streaming it and recording it on YouTube kind of got me to open up more and be more social with people and share my interest rather than being like, okay, people are going to think I'm weird. I never used to talk about the fact that I love the Ace Attorney series because on paper, you know, you're a lawyer and you're defending people and it sounds boring, but it is so much fun.
Mhm.
And Animal Crossing was kind of the same for me. It's like, how do I explain to people that I like this? But then I found people who like it and I feel comfortable sharing it with people. So that's like the big thing. It's like, getting myself out there and um, being more open, because you never know who else is in the same boat, right? You make
Mm-hmm.
connections that way. Um, for my own personal thing, it's probably Kingdom Hearts. It was such a comfort to me during like my teenage years. And you know, when I first started playing that game, I was the same age as the main character, and it hurts me that I've outgrown that now.
Mm-hmm.
But the general themes of that game, while they're incredibly cheesy and incredibly corny, just you know, all that like love and friendship and good versus evil, and evil isn't always so 100% cut and dry bad, if that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense, and just things like that, I think would be the two answers I'd give. One for just me and one for streaming. So I hope that works.
That does work. My answer is usually it usually actually changes. Every time she
Mm-hmm.
asks me, I'm like, has it changed this time or not? But one of them was Spirit Fair because playing that game, it was just so raw and emotional of a
Yeah.
game that like it was just it's so moving to like think about like you're moving these spirits across you know across their life and then like the end of their life and they go into uh, the afterlife.
Yeah.
And
Um,
it's one of those games that I think about quite often for sure.
yeah, that was such a gorgeous game, and like, you know, getting into it, I when I streamed it, I was just like, okay, you know, I'm gonna get emotional over it. But I didn't expect a full out sob on stream, and it happened a bit.
Yeah.
It was so good, and I know that there's like the DLC characters, I think, or something, and like
Mhm.
I don't know if I can bring myself to go back to it, as beautiful as it was,
Mhm.
because I'm like, am I ready to sob again or not?
Right. It was
So,
something that was really good for me at the time because I was like, I need a good cry, and I was like, I'm gonna buy
mhm.
this game. So I bought it and I played a little bit of it. I did most of it off stream. I did play some of it on stream, but not a whole lot.
Mhm.
Um, but what I did play, the first the first day that I played, I definitely cried, and we were like all sitting there. We're just like, it's the allergies. It's allergy season. Like it's just really
Yeah.
hard.
Mhm. Mhm.
But yeah, that's usually my answer for that. Rosie Poo's asking, "What about you, Crystal?" For the question that you asked me. The sorry.
It's okay. I'm trying to remember as well. Give me a second. I asked you, I think, your favorite streaming moment memory.
Yes.
Um, the main thing that always comes to mind is um, getting to be on front page for day one of, or I guess the first 2 weeks, but day one mainly of ACNH. Um,
Yes.
because in my little scroll brain, I was like, you know, I've worked so hard at like, you know, establishing myself as an Animal Crossing content creator, and like, you know, Twitch Senpai has noticed me.
Yeah.
As well as that, like, it was a really cool event. I'd never done anything like that. I haven't worked that personally with Twitch since. Maybe one day again I could, but that was really, it was stressful, but it was great. You know,
Mhm.
there was a whole bunch of other people alongside myself. I mean, I know Misha Crossing, Renee. There's a whole bunch of people who were in it as well, and going into a chat with them, and like, you know, all of us kind of getting excited over this one game was super cool. Having the energy from Twitch chat was amazing, and then behind the scenes, um, you know, if you guys thought I was stressed out over being on front page, you guys should have seen the mods.
I
They
bet.
were like so on it, though. Everyone was working really together. We had a schedule going. Like, you know, we knew exactly when everyone would be available to mod for, you know, especially like, you know, the front page days. Um, and you know, when I first started streaming, I remember back then I would like, you know, I would go offline if someone came into chat, because I'm like, oh god, there's someone watching, which is the point. But like, you know, I was shy. And to think that I went up to, I don't even know how high it was. It was a stupid high number though of viewers, and I
Yeah.
survived. And um, you know, the mods were all there. My community was there to help. I've met people through that who I wouldn't have maybe met otherwise. Um, it was like an achievement sort of thing, but it's also just like um, maybe a milestone that like I
Yeah.
didn't know I was gonna hit, and then I hit it and it went off well. Because I
Mm-hmm.
always tend to be like, the worst's gonna happen. I'm gonna mess up somehow, and then it didn't, so it was good. I
I
think that's
remember.
probably the big one.
I love that because like I remember when Animal Crossing was coming out and I heard all these people announcing that they were going to be on front page. I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's so cool. That's so cool." And then I heard that you got front page and I was just like, "That's so cool. Oh my god." It's just like thinking about that like this person that I watched regularly and then like seeing how you've grown and how your channel has changed since I first started watching you. It's just a really cool experience to see that, and seeing you be on front page was really cool too.
Hmm.
I see we have a question here. Jonathan asks, "Are there any games you regret playing offline instead of streaming, or streaming instead of playing for yourself offline?"
Ooh. Um. Ooh. Interesting question. Playing offline instead of streaming. Part of me kind of wishes I could have my first Kingdom Hearts experience as a stream, but I was streaming it far too early to be, or playing it, sorry, far too early for streams to really be a thing, at least that I
Mm-hmm.
could do at the time. Um, because I feel like that first experience you have with a game is usually so magical, but at the same time, having, on the flip side of that question, actually, having streamed games, um, first before I got the chance to personally like get acquainted with them, it's a very different feeling. Like I have very different feelings towards New Horizons versus New Leaf, for example, because I played one by myself first, whereas the
Mm-hmm.
other one I've always been on stream. I've never really had a personal time with it. Um, but in terms of streaming instead of playing for yourself, I know I never would have got through Life is Strange,
Mm-hmm.
but it was also very it was like it was almost like emotionally traumatic. I don't know how else to describe it, but it was like very emotionally hard hitting.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I always want to be that, like, I don't even know if the word vulnerable is the right word, but like that
Mm-hmm.
emotional on stream.
Mm-hmm.
It brought in a very different vibe. And it
Mm-hmm.
was a interesting playthrough, but it's not necessarily something I always want to do again.
For sure.
Still glad I tried it, but
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's my answer for that, maybe. What about you?
Um. So I don't have a game that I really regret playing offline instead of streaming, because I honestly do most of my gaming on stream,
Hmm.
um, but streaming it instead of playing for yourself offline, I, it's gonna be weird, but it's kind of the same concept as what you just said for Life is Strange,
Hmm.
Doki Doki Literature Club.
I've heard a lot about that game, never tried it, but I want to one day.
So like everyone kept saying, so like it's okay, so for those that do know, um, or for those that don't know, Doki Doki Literature Club is a game that like looks very like cutesy, and it comes out as very cutesy, and it's categorized under the horror category.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't understand where's the horror in this, and I played quite a bit of it, and then I could start seeing where it was going, and I immediately stopped playing it on stream because everyone was like
Yeah.
making fun of the idea that I had no idea what was coming up. Um, and so I had to stop streaming that game because I knew that there was something that was going to be very hard hitting, and at the time my viewers weren't quite at the par where I felt like they were emotionally okay to be there. Does that make sense? Because
Yes.
like when I played Life is Strange on stream, but when I
Hmm.
played it, I was only streaming for like at that time 5 months.
Hmm.
So like I had people in my streams, but like it was mostly people that have actually played Life is Strange, and so they knew where the trigger warnings were, and they would actually say it in my chat, "Hey, by the way, trigger warning here." And I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
thank you for letting me know and letting everybody else know." Nobody
Hmm.
was giving me any kind of trigger warnings for Doki Doki, and I was just I didn't get to that point, but there is a part in there where I'm like, I'm glad that I didn't stream the rest of this. So,
Yeah.
I think I regret even starting the idea of streaming it to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
You thought it was banned from being played on Twitch? I don't know. I don't even know if it's part of those games that were banned from Twitch, because I mean it's got trigger warnings, but then wouldn't a bunch of other games be banned because of the same thing?
It may
I'm
have
not.
been added recently.
It
I
could
haven't
be.
heard of it though.
I haven't heard of it either, especially because they just came out with the plus or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
They just recently came out with that. But yeah, that would be my answer to that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's an interesting question though.
Yeah, it is. I would have never even thought of that question. I'm very bad at coming up with questions, really.
That's a mood.
I'm just like, okay. So that being said, I think we are going to wrap up here. There we go. Thank you so much for agreeing to be on the podcast and having
Yeah,
these
thank you so much for
conversations
having
with
me.
me. I had a lot of I had I'm trying to think of words here. I had a good time talking with you about things, and like I said, I think it's really, it's kind of a almost full circle for me to be able to talk to you on here on my podcast, considering where I've come from.
No, for sure. It's cool to get to talk to people who maybe have been watching me for that long. Because I never think people have been around that long, but there have obviously been people around for a while, and it's always cool to actually get to chat with them and get to know them a bit better. So
Yeah, exactly. It's really cool, and that now, like, having Club Tortimer and everything like that, and participating in and all sorts of things that are happening. It's really cool to like come together with that, and like be, it's kind of like what you kind of were saying with like Twitch Senpai noticed me. It's kind of like Senpai noticed me. Being in the same space and being able to just like hang out and talk with you and other members is really cool, and seeing where I'm going and being from is really a fun thing to be thinking of.
yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah. So for those that are in the Twitch chat, hang tight. We're gonna come back here onto the screen. We're just gonna go ahead and do the little ending screen so that way we can switch on over. So for the YouTube and for the podcast platforms, that way we can see that. But stay tuned, because we are going to be rating somebody and saying hello to everybody a little bit more fully. I think that's the word. But those that are watching in YouTube or other platforms, thank you for listening in on this, and we will see you guys next week with our next episode. And I'm just excited for every episode, honestly.
Yeah.
That's how it is. I'm always excited for all the episodes. Again, thank you so much, Crystal, for being here. I really appreciate you so much. And I will see you guys next time. Okay, love you. Bye.
Bye.